Broadcasting in Northern California, the voice of the San Francisco 49ers, Greg Papa. Sponsored by Sunpoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard of the public adjusting industry.
It is Friday morning at 9, and that means one thing and one thing only. Time to check in with the voice of the 49ers, Greg Papa. Jason Ross here with you. Carmichael Dave is back with us on Monday. Greg, good morning. How are you?
I am doing well. I've missed you the last couple of weeks, but glad to be with you today, and miss Dave as well. So hope all is well with you.
Yeah, everything's good. You sound great. So just on the progress report, I know there's always challenges each and every week, but you're feeling good?
I feel great. I'm in remission. I just had a bone marrow biopsy. That's why I missed the show last Friday. I got another bone marrow biopsy. They check on the cancer in your body, and one diagnostic has me cancer-free, waiting for the clonoSEQ, which measures a little more detail to 1 million cells. But I did get some rough news last week after. I had an echocardiogram after my biopsy, and I had a heart issue back in 2022, cardiomyopathy, and it turned out to be genetic, and something triggered it. I don't know how I got through that football season that year. That was really hard, and doing all the things I do at the shows and interviews. But so I've been on heart medication ever since to control it, and something called my ejection fraction was way down in 22. I got it back up to almost baseline. But once I was diagnosed with cancer, leukemia, they pulled me off the heart meds because it was driving my heart down too much. And it got down too far. So when I had my echocardiogram on Friday, the results were not good. They're back in a non-safe area. So the bottom line is I was scheduled to have that bone marrow transplant in mid-November. We were all lined up. And my sister was going to go to Washington and draw the blood and fly it out to me right after on November the 18th and do the transplant. So my heart's not safe to go into that transplant room. So unfortunately, that's been postponed for indefinite amount of time. I'm hoping it's a month or two, but it could be 3 or 4. And my heart's just got to be stronger. Otherwise, I won't survive the transplant. So
wow.
I was kind of ate up last Friday about the news because I was looking for a light at the end of the tunnel. But as you know, with your son, different challenges come upon you, not just day to day. It's almost minute to minute. Things just change, and it's the ultimate fluid situation. So we'll roll with it. But the good news is I am in remission. I've been in remission since late August, and now I just got to get my damn heart rate to come back and my heart to function a little better.
So that's the next step, is work on that. Hopefully that gets better, and then you do go to the next phase, right? That's kind of that's the goal?
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't need a transplant.
Yeah.
We'll see where you are. If I could say, what they're telling me is I will relapse, about a 40% chance of a relapse. Based on some conditions I have. So, but the morbidity rate in that transplant room with my heart and a few other issues I have, being hypodiploid, it's complicated, but there's a lot of things that are up in the air. But so maybe I don't need a transplant and they'll keep me alive somehow and not relapse. But as you know, the transplant lessens the likelihood of a relapse significantly. So, one day I'd like to get that done so I could live a normal life after and not have to worry about this and have to have any more chemo put into my body, for years after. So, but we'll see where it goes. But right now, take the meds. I'm going to get back on the treadmill, try to get my heart back up and healthy enough where I can do the transplant.
Well, like we said, we got a lot of people like Greg, you got this messages that are coming in. So you got a lot of people in your corner, which is awesome. And we are there as well. Let's transition, if we can, to football here. Last week, Greg, that was as bizarre a first half that I can remember. I mean, the Texans played the best game of keep away ever. The 49ers just didn't have the ball. And I got to tell you, when they scored before the half, I thought, you know what? The Niners just haven't had the ball, but I think they're now going to win. I mean, they finally scored. I think they'll get it going in the second half, and they're going to find a way to win. To the Texans' credit, they didn't really let them do that. But what a bizarre game that was last week.
Bizarre is one way to phrase it. I mean, just awful. The first 29 minutes of the game, Jace, they were as outplayed as I can remember any Kyle Shanahan team being outplayed. Houston was going off on long drives.
Yep.
And this whole defense is predicated on we're going to play top down and we're going to rally up and tackle you in the kill zone. And you're not going to be able to go off on a 9-10 play drive. They had a half dozen of them. And they had a 16-play drive to open the game. It was nothing but long drives. Now, they did stall out in the red zone and kick 4 field goals, but they did score 2 touchdowns, and they just played keep away. And Kyle likes to defer like most coaches, win the toss, defer, give him the ball first, and then you don't get the ball. I mean, how much actual time elapsed? 20 minutes before, Matt got in the huddle, and then you go 3 and out. And it's like, wow. So, but then they got back into the game on the Kittle touchdown before halftime. Diamador Lenore, God bless him, finally with an INT, but should have ducked out of bounds with 2 seconds to go. Could you imagine going into the halftime down after being down 16-0 with a minute to go in the half to be down 16-10 and make a long field goal and get the ball coming out to start the second half? But that didn't happen. It was 16-7, and you wind up getting hit. The quarterback got hit on third down. Will Anderson just dominated the game, and you had a chance there at the end. You had a chance on the slant and go, the sluggo to Juwan Jennings, but he didn't run a good enough route. He didn't sell the slant. You got to sell that more, make that corner come up and get on top of him. He never got on top of Lassiter, and the ball was underthrown, and that was pretty much it. You got it back one more time. But so, going into New York, and I don't want to say it's a similar vibe, but you knew going into Houston, Jace, you had to deal with their outside guys, the edge rushers. And obviously, Will Anderson's a tremendous player. So is Daniil Hunter. And Colton McKivitz and Trent Williams in different ways struggled in the game. The New York Giants defense is horrible. It's one of the worst in football statistically. And they cannot stop the run. So the Niners have got to run the ball. I think the key to the game is first down, 4 or 5 yards, second down, stay neutral where they do not know if you're going to run or throw. If you get into second and third and longs against, or even first and longs, don't take a holding penalty. Don't get behind. Even on 1st and 20, draw, screen. They've got edge guys. They've always had Kayvon Thibodeau, the guy they drafted out of Oregon. They traded for Brian Burns a couple years ago. And then they went and drafted Abdul Carter out of Penn State with the 3rd overall pick. And they deploy them all around. One will line up over the head of the center. One will be on one edge. One will be on the other edge. Sometimes they put 2 on the same edge, and they run a stunt, and they put the other one on the other side. It's very creative. And Mac Jones has the left knee, the front knee with the PCL injury, and now he's got the back knee, the right knee as well. So whether it's been Brock or whether it's been Mac, the quarterback has been hit just too many times. So you got to slow down this pass rush, and I think the key to the game is to run the ball on this team. They've given up some huge rushing numbers. And then on the other side, you had Michael Penix a couple of weeks ago, and last week you had C.J. Stroud, who plays more like a veteran young player. I'm a big fan of Jackson Dart. I went to the Combine this past year for the first time ever, and just love the guy. He's got swag, which I think turns some people off. Doesn't turn me off. He's got great confidence. And to play the position, you got to be confident, and he should. He's got amazing skill, amazing arm talent, whippy kind of arm. Reminds me of a Jeff George or a Jay Cutler from years ago. Just easily flicks his wrist and pulls it back and just fires. And then he can run. And they do a lot of quarterback runs. They do quarterback sneaks. They do quarterback powers. They do quarterback, zone reads. A lot of design cue runs where the quarterback is the runner. But where he's really dangerous is getting out of the pocket. And even though he is a runner, when he breaks the pocket, he likes to get out to step up and get out to his right. So when you're rushing at left end over their right tackle, who's the weaker of the 2 tackles, their left tackle, Andrew Thomas, is one of the best in football. Illuminor is the right tackle. So if you get a little pressure on him, you got to make sure the inside guy seals it. If he gets out to his right, even though they do all the design quarterback run stuff, this guy's got his head up and he's looking to throw. And he is dangerous because that's where you bust. The quarterback starts to approach the line of scrimmage, and you got to go tackle this guy. And then you step up and you leave your man. And I've seen him. I'm watching the end of the Denver game right now, and That's the game they were up 19-0 and 26-8 and lost 33-32. But he picked up a 4th and 17 at the very end after they lost the lead, doing what I'm saying, rolling out, break and contain, getting to his right, throwing across his body. He does things that you're taught not to do, and he does not always get away with it. He makes mistakes. He threw a bad pick earlier in that game, but he also just has amazing arm talent and skill, and he don't care. He's a gunslinger, and he fitted in there, to their slot wide receiver, and they wound up keeping the drive alive. He scored a touchdown. They took the lead back in that game. So he's the key. You got to rush him. You got to keep him in the pocket. You've got to deal with all the design quarterback runs and mainly the zone read. And they won't have Scadaboo in this game, but they got a couple of good running backs. I mean, the back was a rookie last year, is a really good player, Tyrone Tracy, and they got Motor Singletary, the former Buffalo Bill. So they got a couple of guys that can certainly run the ball. So it's different than Houston, but you got to protect the quarterback, and it'll be Mac Jones, we think, in this game. They got edge guys that can go get the quarterback just like Houston does, and C.J. Stroud is different than certainly Jackson Dart. But Jackson will dart the football and hit bullseyes, and then he will dart around your defense all day long. He is just a tough guy to sack.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the Giants because there are some elements here. Greg, I look at their win resume. You beat the Chargers. You beat the Eagles. You probably should have beat the Broncos. I mean, that's as good of a win resume as you could have. But there's 6 losses in there. I mean, amongst the NFC, kind of where do they fit as far as good teams?
Well, you got to look at their season in segments. They were 0-3 when Russell Wilson was the starting quarterback. He had some games where he was just awful, and they had to take him off the field. They lost the first game to Washington 21-6, and he was terrible. They got in the low red zone repeatedly and couldn't score. And then they played that game against Dallas that went to overtime. There was a shootout, and he's back to Russ. Let it ride. The Seattle Russ throwing moon balls to the sky, and they got into a shootout, and he played well. Then he played on Sunday Night Football against Kansas City at Arrowhead, and it was painful. You knew this is the end. He can't play anymore. They got down inside the 20, inside the 10 repeatedly, and could not score. And he made terrible choices with the ball, and they benched him. So they got off to an 0-3 start. Then they go to Jackson Dart, and he just comes out slinging and beats the Chargers, who are obviously a good team, loses to New Orleans. Then they beat Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football, and he played great. And then the Denver game we talked about, you can talk about them losing the lead, and it was an historic collapse. But they were up 19-0 in Denver. He went into Denver and pierced that's a great defense. A lot of people think it's the best defense in football, and Dre Greenlaw was finally back for that game. And last week they got trampled by second play of the game, Saquon. And they're vulnerable to all kinds of runs. I think you can run outside at them, and you want to run at Brian Burns, I think, in this game, Jace, 0. He's a good pass rusher, but I see a lot of the outside runs go at him. And you got to get a body on him. It'll come upfield, and you get underneath them. You can also run, what the Niners did against Atlanta, which was a lot more power with double teams inside because they do run a 3-4 front. So their whole year changed when Jackson Dart took over at quarterback, and they had Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo playing the way they played. And now Scadaboo with a terrific injury. They've lost Malik Neighbors, but they don't have a lot of – they're not a playoff team without question, but they've excited the fan base without question. And they've been trying to, find a quarterback forever and ever there post Eli, and they thought it was Daniel Jones, and now he's starring in Indy, which kills him there. But I think Jackson Dart may be the guy. I'm really impressed by his skill set.
We're talking with Greg Papa, voice of the 49ers, here each and every Friday, 9 o'clock. Greg, the Niners did make a bit of a move this week. I know that Keon White at one point was a big part of what the Patriots were doing, and he kind of fell out of favor here recently. But what do you think he might provide for the 49ers front? He's
a big body. He weighs 285 pounds and a good athlete. He actually played tight end in college and then converted to D-line later, and he's big. And he gets off the ball quickly. So I think they'll use him as a base end to start, meaning I think, we'll see if he gets down the system. But guys do show up and play right away. I think Chase Young arrived on a bye week, so he played right away. I mean, when you're playing D-line, yes, the Niners have you do it a certain way with the wide nine. He does like to play, at least in New England, in the 2-point stance, which means his hands are not in the ground. The 2 points are just his feet. Where the Niners like 4-point. They want both hands down, get low, GTFO, get the F off the ball and explode. So he's got to take to that, assuming Kaczmarek clears him on all that. I think you could put him in. Does he start? I don't know. We'll see about other injuries. He may have to. They also got Cleveland Ferrell back, who can set the edge. So I think right away, Michael Williams is one end, and one of those two guys is the other. And Gross Matos, maybe if he can come back this week, could do that. He reminds me of Gross Matos a lot, where he's just a big body who sets the edge, meaning when the run is coming his way, his shoulder is always outside the tackle, whoever's blocking him, and he pushes everything back inside. Nothing gets outside of me. If you turn the corner on that edge setter, it's a problem because everybody's funneled toward the middle of the field on the defense. Cleveland Ferrell did that really well for the Niners, and they missed him desperately in the 2023 year when they got to the Super Bowl and lost. Cleveland could do that, and then Keon White can do that. Obviously, Michael could do that. And then, well, you can move them inside over a guard as well, in passing situations. But they have guys that can do that. So we'll see what how many snaps can he play? He was playing in New England. He didn't play his last game there, healthy and active. But I think it's likely he'll get a jersey number 56, and then Cleveland Ferrell may be up as well, Jason. We're number 96. They're similar players, yet they're different. And then the big thing would be, what does John Lynch do by Tuesday? We got a deadline coming up. Election day is a big day. That's also a big choice for John to make. And 1:00 our time, do you go get a premier pass rusher, a middle linebacker? I don't know. Let's play the game and see what you need here. That's why this game is so critical. Just do the math. The Niners got off to the opposite start of the Giants. The Giants started 0-3. The Niners started 3-0. But in the third game, they lost Nick Bosa for the year. Since that point, they have alternated loss, win, loss, win, loss. So now they're 5-3. You got a deadline coming up, and the game after this week, you're playing the LA Rams at home.
Right.
And I know you beat the Rams there, but a lot of the able-bodied players are not going to be available for that game. Some might come back. So the point is, there's a big difference between going 6-3 into a trade deadline versus going 5-4 into a trade deadline when you started the year 3-0. So I don't know what they're thinking, and they don't want to give up any draft capital. Unless it's for someone that would be under contract for beyond just the remainder of this year, which would eliminate Trey Hendrickson, I guess, because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So we'll see. There are a lot of other good pass rushers. A couple on the Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau is a guy that I like. He sets the edge in the run game. That guy's not had the splashy sack numbers being a high pick out of Oregon, but he does what I was talking about with Keon White and Cleve Ferrell. He sets the edge. He's a very good edge player. And he does have some skill. So that's why this game is critical. The Niners have not lost back-to-back games all year.
Yeah.
And you kind of knew this road trip would be difficult. When you looked at it, at Rams, at Tampa, home for Atlanta, at Houston, and now you got one more to go at the Giants. So this game, just for the pure math of your one-loss record, where you are in relationship to the other teams in your division, and a trade deadline coming up on the first Tuesday in November, it's a huge game on Sunday.
Knowing what you know about John Lynch, let's take those scenarios, 6-3 versus 5-4. Which one is he more likely to make the move on?
Well, I think you can make a move either way, but obviously 6-3. But I think he's always cognizant. Like when they traded for Chase Young, Chase's contract was up, and they let him walk in free agency. And that was a deal that what they get him for was not a very high draft pick.
Right.
I remember they traded for Randy Gregory that year, early in October, and then they traded for Chase right before the deadline. And that was Martin Mayhew, who John played with in Tampa, and he was actually on. I don't know what his title was, assistant GM, or he and Adam Peters were. It was a triangle with John when John first got here. So Martin Mayhew was invaluable to helping John learn to be a GM. But anyway, Martin was running Washington's office then, so he wanted to get Chase Young out of there. They didn't like him. It wasn't a high pick, but they only kept him 1 year. They let him walk. So, I mean, Trey Hendrickson would be a difference maker, but what do the Bengals want back? I would venture somebody would offer a second-round pick at least for him, where the Niners may not want to go that high for a rental. Now, if they win this game and they look like themselves, that changes your perspective. But win or lose, Jace, I think they're in the market to improve the team. This is just, the business of football takes place right now.
Yeah.
Like the off season when the league year starts in March and around the draft, trades are made, transactions are made, things happen. And this is one of those, deadlines that come up. So you've been talking about trades with people, not just in October, but probably for months, even in the off season, a year ago, 2 years ago. And like this guy, Keon White, they liked him coming out in the draft. All of a sudden he's available. They make a deal with Mike Vrabel and get him there. So he could easily make 1, 2, 3 trades that are not so much about this year, could be somewhat about this year, but always, looking ahead to what's going to bring the future in 26 and 27 as well.
Yeah. All right, last one for you, Greg. You mentioned it earlier. You believe that Mac Jones will be the starter. What's the latest? Like, how soon are we going to see Brock Purdy?
I don't know. I'm the boy in a bubble, bro. I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed. I'm not going to practice anymore, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he jumped into some team stuff yesterday and Wednesday. Today's more of a, it's not a throwaway, but it's more of a red zone practice than they'll fly. And Brock did fly with them to Houston, which is a good sign. So he's getting better. But he's got to take part in team drills. You can't just, jump in there and play quarterback and you haven't. And he's got to be able to protect himself. As much as Mac is getting hit and Mac is getting pummeled from head to toe, if Brock can't run away from these pterodactyls, he's going to get hurt worse than what he has. He'll be glad he has turf toe. So, and then you got to execute the entire offense, all the movement skill and, have your base. You throw with your legs. It's his right toe, so it's his back foot. If he can't do that, he can't play. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So I think he's making progress, but he's got to take part in team drills and do it really, I would think, as the number one quarterback. Again, jumping in with the ones and getting almost every snap before you could feel that his safety is ensured and that the football team can function at the highest level with him at quarterback.
Well, we look forward to seeing how this one plays out this weekend. Certainly, we hope you have a great weekend. Happy Halloween, too, Greg, by the way. You guys.
By the way, I got a great little mask that I'm going to wear for the radio show.
Really?
Today. And it does have a bit of a football theme.
Okay.
And a pretty good character. You want to?
Yeah, I want to hint.
Should I give it away?
Yeah.
You want to wait till 10 o'clock and watch on the stream?
Well,
you'll be all on Sactown Sports. I'm going to go. I found a Chucky mask, a John Gruden.
Nice.
So I think we'll do that. Like, the Raiders lost Carroll Davis and my friend George Atkinson passed away this week. It's a hard week. So, and a lot of rumors that Chucky back next year in college.
Yeah.
Football.
How do you think
Florida
he'd do there?
Gators, maybe?
He'd do well, wouldn't he?
He'd do well anywhere.
Yeah.
But he's a pro guy. It's just an unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah.
What he said should not have been made public to the whole world.
Yeah.
But, and he's suing for a lot of money, but what he said is hard to walk back. He defamed and hit just about every part of our population. So every citizen on earth got hit on that one, just about.
Yeah.
So it's hard, especially to coach a football team. So I don't know. He'd be good at anything, but he should be coaching somewhere. I mean, everything he's doing online. He's gaining too much weight. Time for Chucky to get in shape, I think. Come on, John. Let's go.
Well, Greg, we always appreciate our conversations. Have a great weekend, and we look forward to talking to you next Friday.
Thank you, Jace. David, I miss you. I'll talk to you next Friday.
All right. Thank you. That is the great Greg Papa joining us here each and every Friday. Thank you to Greg. Check out his mask, right? You get to see what he's wearing his Chucky John Gruden mask for Halloween. All right, when we come back, we still have What's on Deck, brought to you by Trex Decking and Railing. We've got a 3 in the key for Kings and Bucks tomorrow. Celebrity birthday, still Friday Fun and Games. My, oh my, so much to get to as we wrap up this Friday show, this Halloween show, right here on Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find Malik Monk is Sactown Sports.
Oh my, what an athletic move, that time by Malik Monk.
Hey Sacramento, it's Malik Monk, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sactown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888